Hello guys, my name is Sean Parker and this is my reflection video for CE 300. I'm going to reflect on the Pisces game. So everyone knows exactly what the layout and rules of the Pisces game were, so I won't talk about that specifically. So I was in the Capricorn group for the Pisces game, and I was the only person with that zodiac sign, meaning that I was the only person in my group. So I only had one villager to keep alive. I started out with no fish, so I knew I had to get some fish to survive the first round, so I wouldn't die at all. So um, I thought that there were many things that should be talked about for this, involving some moral issues, some ethical, and whether this game was actually fair or not. This game involved many moral decisions that each group had to make because it essentially was a test of your ethics, since ethics was a big part of this class. And then the ethics of this game could be related to the ethics of engineering, since that's the field where most of us want to get into. And what was interesting to me was how everyone had a different startup. So each group had a different amount of fish they started with their boat size and stuff. So the thing of whether this game was fair or not was a big question. I didn't think it was fair at the beginning, but that just shows like that real life isn't fair. Everyone has a different circumstances they have to deal with, and that's what makes a person who they are, how they deal with what they have in their life and what they don't have in their life. But I did feel that the groups that did have a lot of fish in the beginning did have a obligation to help out the groups that didn't have that much. Because if they had enough to feed their own group, then why not help someone who didn't have any fish at all in the beginning? Because you can form friendships or trust that'll help you. I mean, there's no point in making enemies when you can just make friends with people. So that's why I felt that the teams with the higher number of fish at the beginning had an obligation to help out the teams with the lower number of fish. In my particular case, like I said, I had 0 fish at the beginning. During class, when we had this assigned, I asked one of my friends who had fish at the beginning to lend me some fish for the first round. I could repopulate my fish with the extra fish they gave me, so that if they needed any help in the later rounds or whatever, I would help them out and return the favor. So that's where I tried to make friends instead of enemies, whereas some people right away tried to steal, and they did steal, which other groups got pretty pissed off at, and I could see why. But it's the groups that's their fault. They should probably made friends instead of enemies, because that's what I said. In the middle of the game, I actually on Twitter mentioned, what's the point of making enemies when you can just have ask nicely for fish? I'm pretty sure most people would have gave something up if you approached them in a nice way instead of going behind their back and trying to steal fish from people. What I did was I accumulated fish in the first round, and I accumulated enough fish from my friends that it would be enough for me to survive through the 4 rounds, because 4 rounds was the entirety of the game. And I did this knowing that I had to put myself before I could help others out. So that's what I think is also a thing. You gotta keep in mind that you gotta put yourself before others. And once you have your own things going for you, you can help others out. So that's what I thought of the Pisces game in our CE 300 class. Thank you for your time, and have a good rest of the year.